Hi everyone, Scott Davis here, and today we're going to be going through a guided intermediate practice, and we'll be going through together one way of doing this series, and there are many different ways that you can practice it, but this will give you one way to go through the sequence in a guided way. Okay, so let's begin in a comfortable seated position with our head stacked over our heart, stacked over our pelvis. So we have the three body weight centers nice and tall. You can go ahead and close your eyes. Just think of this as starting by stopping. Beginning in this open, empty space with setting an intention for your practice today. So whatever that is making a plan now, how you'd like to direct your energy. Good, and then begin to notice the flow of your inhales and exhales. And into that inner space, you become very aware of our breath as a three-dimensional expansion in all directions, and then the feeling of the centering of your exhale. So we're going to move into our box breathing now. Okay, so sometimes called four-stage breathing. Okay, so for this, you can just let your back body expand a little bit. So instead of trying to sit up really straight and tall, we're just going to let ourselves sit back a little bit so you can get a bit more breath into your back body. And we'll exhale all of our air out. Let's inhale for 6 seconds. Hold for 6. Exhale for 6 seconds. 6 seconds is challenging. Just try to stretch the breath as much as you can and then hold for 6. Again, inhale 6 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. Hold for 6. Two more times. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last time. Inhale for 6. Hold 6. Exhale for 6. Hold for 6. And then breathe normally, feeling the capacity of that three-dimensional breath on all sides of your torso. Good. And then if your eyes are closed, open your eyes, stretch your legs out. And we're going to come into some core work. So let's lie on our backs. And we're going to do the big three, the core, front of the core to begin with. We'll straighten the right leg, bend the left knee, slide the hands underneath the lower back. Inhale fully, three-dimensionally on all sides of your torso. Exhale all your air as you draw your attention to your center. Lift your head, your shoulders, and your upper back off the floor. If it's too much for your neck, hold your head with one hand and focus on bringing your lower ribs down, engaging the front of your core as you bear downwards, keeping your lower back curved off the floor. Lift your upper back, lift your shoulders, lift your head. So the position of your legs is going to help keep your lower back in its neutral curve. And then we'll exhale and come down. Switch sides as you inhale. Fully three-dimensionally. Exhale, lift your head, lift your shoulders off the floor, and hold. So short hold here. You're going to naturally feel that your breath is a little shorter because you're creating that intra-abdominal pressure as you engage the front of your core, but try to breathe three-dimensionally even though the breath is shorter. Last couple breaths here. Remember, support your head if it bothers your neck. And exhale, come all the way down. Roll onto your left side. We'll come into our side plank to get the side of the core. So we're going to keep the knees, hips, ribs, shoulders, and head in line. You can do this with your knees bent or straight. You can do it with your elbow bent or straight. Okay, so it's up to you. We're going to flow with our breath on the inhale. We'll come up with our hips. Exhale, we'll come down and tap the hip with the elbow. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, come down. Bent or straight legs. Bent or straight arm. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. On the last time, we inhale up. And we're going to stay up. Take the hand behind the head. Press the head back gently. Keep the ribs in. So you have that nice line from your head to your knees, centering that line. And pull the underside of your core into your midline. Exhale, come down. Let's switch to the other side. So come onto the right elbow. You can do this with your knees bent or straight. Just make sure the line is centered. If you want to progressively load and have your legs and your arms straight, it's the same action. We inhale up and we exhale down. So whether you're using bent or straight limbs, let's inhale up, exhale and tap down. Inhale up, exhale down. Two more. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up. Let's stay up. Take the hand behind the head. Get some feedback. Push the head back into your hand. Keep your ribs in, your hips forward. Center the line from your knees to your head. Good. Breathe here. Pull the underside of your core, your right side in. And exhale, come down. Come onto all fours now. We're going to work the back of the core in the bird dog. Let's inhale the right arm and the left leg to extend. And then we're going to exhale and tap the elbow and knee together. So inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale, reach. Exhale, tap. Inhale. Exhale, last time. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, reset. Left arm, right leg. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hug the midline. Inhale, extend, arching the back, getting the glutes, the posterior chain. Exhale, tap. Inhale to activate the back of the core. Exhale, tap. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, reach. Tap on the exhale. Inhale and reach. And then we'll exhale back to all fours. So now we're going to move into a spinal wave. So from here, we're going to basically be doing cat and cow, but we're going to do it segmentally through the bottom of the spine up and then the bottom of the spine down. Okay, so from here, we're going to draw the tailbone down, the ribs in, flex your mid back, your upper back, and then your head. So you're coming into cat pose, Marjarasana. Then lift your tailbone, arch your lower back, segmentally move up to your mid back, your upper back, and finally your neck. Let's do this 2 more times. Start with the tailbone, tucking, lower back rounding, the mid back rounding, the upper back, and then finally the head.
And then keep your head in position, untuck your tail, arch your lower back, your mid back, upper, and head. Good. Now from here, we're going to add same exact thing, but we're going to add the lifting of our right leg, kind of like we did in the bird dog in the core series. So we're going to lift the right leg, we're arching the back, okay, and then we're going to pull the leg in. So that's going to initiate the rounding of the spine from the bottom. Pull the leg in, then round your spine from your mid back, from your upper back, and try to bring your forehead to your knee. And then lift first your leg, then arch your lower back, your mid back, your upper back, and your head. Let's do that one more time. From the arch, okay, so this is tiger pose. We're drawing the knee in, rounding the tailbone, the lower back, then move it up the spine segmentally, incrementally, waving up to the top of the head, bringing it to the forehead, or the forehead to the knee. Good, and then we'll lift the leg. We'll arch lower, mid, upper, and the head. And then let's return the right leg down. We do the same thing on the left leg. So full arch, stretch up through the chin, lifting the leg, and then draw the leg in, tuck the tail, round the back, mid back, upper, and then the head. Keep the head down. Move the leg up to untuck the pelvis, arch the low back, arch the mid back, arch the upper, and then the head. Go to full extension before you pull the knee in, tuck the tail, pull the lower back towards the sky, upper back, mid back, and the head. And then lastly, lift the leg, arch lower, arch middle, arch upper, and the head. Very good. Release on an exhale, the leg back to the floor. We're going to stretch the hips back and up into downward dog. Make a powerful stretch from your hands into your hips. And then we'll walk our hands back towards our feet and let yourself hang over your legs. Then roll up one vertebrae at a time so your head's the last thing to come up. And once you're all the way up, we're going to come into a spinal wave. So from here, we'll move our hips back. We're going to wave the chest through, and then we'll hollow. So you can use your arms to help you, initiating the wave by your hips going back, arch, pull through, and then hollow. Once you have the basic format of the spinal wave, we're going to move the spinal wave into a balanced position where when you arch, you'll take your right leg back and open up your chest. And then we'll hollow with the foot on the floor, arch through, take your left leg back, place your foot on the floor, hollow, wave through, right leg back, and then keeping your weight on your right leg, we'll move through with the right leg, the angel position. This is a one-legged spinal wave. And then we switch to the other side, left leg down, arch, hollow, arch, round, wave through. Try to coordinate and segmentally articulate the movement, the wave-like watery motion of your spine. Good. Excellent. Now that the spine, hips, and core are integrated, we'll come to the top of the mat, and we're going to go into our first standing flow, or our Surya Namaskar, salutations to the sun. So we'll do a few variations. First, starting with the classical. Inhale the arms up, arch back. Exhale, fold forward, and let your head hang. Inhale the right leg back into a lunge. Exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Inhale into plank, and exhale, drop your knees, chest, and chin to the floor. Inhale, slide through, hips coming to the mat, lifting up into cobra. Exhale, shift your body weight back into downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to step the right foot up between the hands. Straight leg lunge. Exhale, step the left foot up to meet the right, fold over. Inhale, coming all the way up, arching back. And then right away, let's go into the left side. We'll fold over on the exhale. Inhale, left leg back into the lunge. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the floor. 8-pointed pose. Wave through with your spine. So drop your hips, lift up into the arch. Cobra pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the left foot up between the hands. Straight leg lunge. Exhale, step the right foot up into Uttanasana or forward fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Arch back. Exhale, lower your hands by your sides, and let's move into Surya Namaskar A. On an in-breath, take your arms up. Look up at your thumbs. Exhale, fold over into Uttanasana. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, plant your palms, step or walk or hop back into plank. Inhale and plank, exhale, lower down. Adjust your shoulders back, inhale into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths here. Spread your fingers. Telescope your body. As you reach into your hands, pull your hips back. Externally rotate your shoulders, taking your inner upper shoulders towards your outer shoulders. At the same time, reach your arms out into your hands. Pull the side waist back. Wake up the legs. Keep the toes light as the heels descend. Staying with your breath. Inhale fully. Exhale onto the tippy toes. Look forward at your hands. Step, walk, or hop forward. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale takes us all the way up. And exhale, back to standing. Good. Once again, please. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold over, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Straight back. Exhale, step, walk, or hop back and lower down. Adjust your shoulders back. So on an inhale, you lift up into cobra or upward dog. And then exhale straight back into downward dog. Purpose of downward dog here is to regulate your breath. So if that means ever taking a rest and deloading the position, taking your knees to the floor if you need to, focus on your form, on your alignment, on your breathing, 3-dimensional breaths into your back body, your side body, your front body. Good. Next full inhale, let's fill up 3-dimensionally. Exhale onto the tiptoes, look up at your hands, step, walk, or hop forward. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. Inhale takes you up, grounding down to go up. Exhale, lower your hands. Surya Namaskar B. Let's inhale, bend the knees and reach the arms up. Utkatasana. Exhale, fold over. Uttanasana. Inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, plant your palms. Step or spring back. Inhale to Cobra or Upward Dog, front stretching. Exhale, pull back. Step your right foot up to frame your hands. Pivot your left heel in. And inhale into Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lowering through plank, your push-up position, chaturanga, or all the way to the floor to adjust your shoulders. Let's inhale into the front stretch. Exhale, pull back, left foot steps forward. Pivoting right foot in. Inhale, reach up, Virabhadrasana 1, left side. Exhale, long breath out for chaturanga or to the floor. Inhale to adjust the front body into the front stretch. Exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Steady your breathing. Using these warm-ups of the first standing flow to create a strong connection between your breath and the movements. Noticing your thoughts, noticing your breath, noticing your posture. Beautiful. Exhale all your air out. Come onto your tippy toes, step, walk, or hop forward. Inhale, let's lengthen into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, back to standing. Let's go directly into our next standing sequence. We're going to step back with the right foot into a nice long stance. Open your arms and check that your wrists are about roughly over your ankles. Pivot on your right foot and bend your right knee directly over your heel for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. You can look past the fingers of your right hand. Make a soft sound, aspirant sound with your breath so as to elongate the breath. The inhales filling three-dimensionally. The exhales coming back to center, back to the center of the spine. Good. Take an inhale as you reach down the back leg. Just as a transition, we'll exhale, fold over to the right. I'm going to use a block beside my right ankle, but you can put the hand on the floor or the elbow on the knee. On an in-breath, let's reach up with the left arm for Parshvottanasana, extended side angle. Keep the right angle bend at your right knee. Push your right knee into your inner right shoulder to open and rotate your chest open from the navel upwards. At the same time, keeping the left leg strong and straight. Steadying your breath. Very good. Look down on your exhalation. Slowly inhale and straighten your right leg. Let's go directly into Utthita Trikonasana. Adjusting the height of your base on your right side. Pull the right kneecap up the leg like a long sock. On an in-breath, reach the left arm up. Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. Steadying your breathing, ground down through all four corners of your right foot. As you do so, pull the outer right hip back. Rotate from the lower belly up towards the sky, spiraling up. If it doesn't bother your neck, look up at your thumb. Otherwise, look down. Then from here, we're going to take a little micro bend in the right knee to step the hand or the block forward. And we're inhaling up into Ardha Chandrasana, or half moon pose. The left arm can reach up, or it can extend alongside your left leg. You can look down if balance is challenging, or turn and look up to challenge your balance. Keep your legs strong and engaged. Pull up on your kneecaps. Make the legs energized. Reach to the top of your head. Good. Exhale and step back with your left foot. I'm going to take the block with me as I transition to the other side. And I'll place the block in the ready beside my left foot. I'll come up and bend the left knee as I exhale. And then I'm going to inhale and reach out. I allow my right hip to comply and come forward, so I make it more about my left leg externally rotating out to the left. At the same time, I keep my shoulders and my upper body in line with the long edge of the mat. Keep soft release through the corners of your neck as if your arms were submerged or just floating on the surface of water. The underside of the torso elongates, the breath full and three-dimensional, all three sides, front, lateral sides, and back. Inhale, reach down the back leg, reverse warrior. Exhale, I come up and over, and I'm going to use my block, but you can use the floor or the elbow on the knee. Inhale, stretch the right arm up, and I'm grounding through my right foot as I press my left knee externally into the shoulder for feedback. And then using that rotation, turn the belly open and spiral to look up through the inside edge of your arm towards either the ceiling or your right palm. Keep the right side long. Good. And then from here we look down, and on an in-breath, I'm going to straighten my left leg, go directly into Trikonasana, Utthita Trikonasana. The left leg is pulling upwards towards the hip, which is traveling back to the right. I let my right hip angle forward if necessary so that I can keep the emphasis on pulling up on the left leg. I inhale, reach up through the right arm. Steady breath. If I can spiral from the bottom of the belly to look up, maybe I'm looking up or looking down if balance is tricky. Steady the breath as you make micro adjustments to your posture. Good. Looking down at the floor on the exhale, we bend the left knee. I'm going to take a little step in so that I can place my foundation and float my right leg up. I can have my right leg alongside my right thigh, or I float it up and either looking down or turning to look up for the half moon pose. Good. Then I exhale, look down as I take a big step back with the right foot. I'm going to inhale, come up. I turn my feet to parallel, and then I'm going to heel toe my feet back together in the middle of the mat. Stand tall in mountain pose. Good. And then bending your knees in either step, walk or hop your feet apart. We're going to pivot the right foot out for our third standing sequence. We turn our hips towards the back of the mat. The left heel is angling back. Now I bend my right knee once again, like in Virabhadrasana 2, but this time my hips are squaring towards my bent knee. I reach my arms up, and I can either keep my hands shoulder width apart or take my palms together. Keep the back of the neck long as I reach up, sink down nice and low through my hips. The back heel does not have to maintain contact with the floor. It's more of a direction. As I push down, I want to go up through my fingertips. Good. Then I take my hands alongside my body. I'm going to shift my weight forward, and I'm going to lift my back leg up into Virabhadrasana 3. I can keep my hands here either on my hips or by my sides, or I have the option of taking my arms like wings out to the sides in cactus, or even forward out in front of me. Okay, so whatever feels most integrating for you. Breathe three-dimensionally as you lift your back leg high, take your chest forward, and then on an in-breath, we'll stand up and we'll take the left leg with us to come into a balance pose, the eagle. So I'm going to cross my left leg on top of my right, and I can either place the left toes on the floor if balance is tricky, or I hook around and grapevine my ankle. From here, I might take my right arm on top of my left to the full eagle pose, sitting down through my hips. I rise up through the fingers, lifting the elbows, drawing the outer shoulders down. Good. On an in-breath, I'm going to unwind my eagle. I take a big step back, and I exhale and I pivot onto the other side. So I'm going to take a slightly wider stance, not necessarily longer, but wider. That will make it easier to allow my hips to start squaring to the left. I bend my left knee, and on an inhale, I'm going to raise my arms up, keeping them either shoulder width or even wider. That might help you integrate your shoulders a little bit better. Keep your ribs neutral and drawn in. Lift from the back of your kidneys into your thumbs and take the heel towards the floor, the right heel towards the floor. It's more of a direction. Good. And then I look down at the floor. As I come forward, I shift my weight into my front foot and I come into the balance, the warrior three. The back leg is extending, it's shooting back. My chest moves forward. My hands can be out to the side or out in front. Filling three-dimensionally my torso, keeping the hips square to the floor. On an in-breath, I come to standing. I take my back leg with me and I cross it over into my eagle pose. I switch arms, so left over right. And if it's difficult to grapevine the arms, I can just wrap my arms around my shoulders. Then a double action, I drop down through my outer hips and I lift up through my fingers as the corners of my neck flow down. On an in-breath, I want to come all the way out, take a big step back, and as I exhale, I turn my feet back to parallel, and I'm going to heel toe back together to come into my next balance sequence. So here I'm going to do a variation on handstand. You might be starting with downward facing dog. That's a good place to start. If you're at the wall in your handstand, then a great place to do handstand, as long as you can walk with your hands, is to find a place on the wall where you can put your hands on the floor. And you're doing a kind of short downward facing dog. I don't want to drop down into my shoulders. I push the floor away. Really important that I'm not sitting on the shelf of my shoulders. I want to push away, so I'm using the power of my shoulder blades. Then I start to walk my feet up the wall. And as I walk my feet up the wall, I can walk my hands in. It can feel a little scary at first, so just go to where you feel comfortable. And this is a great place to work to find your body line, from your hands to your shoulders to stacking your ribs, your hips, your feet, and pushing the floor away. When you're ready to come out, make sure you save enough energy in your tank to walk your hands forward, and then we're going to lower down and come into a kneeling position. That can be repeated again, either at the wall or away from the wall, eventually in the center of the room. But we're going to move on now to forearm balance, or dolphin. I'm going to bring my sticky mat close to the wall, and I'm going to use a block to keep space between my hands. I turn my palms to grab the edges of the block. Now the difference between this and handstand is I've taken my wrists out of the equation. I'm on my elbows, on my forearms, and I'm bringing my center of gravity closer to the floor. Okay, so some of you will find it more challenging. Some of you, depending on your conditioning, will find it easier. So I'm going to start by opening this angle between my upper arm bone and my torso. So I move my hips back. This is called the Dolphin Pose. It's kind of like downward dog on the elbows. Then I start to walk my feet in, and if I feel like I can get my hips, my center of gravity, on top of my foundation, my elbows and forearms, I can either maintain my hand position, or you might find it more appropriate for balance to turn your palms down. Okay, so I'll show you with the palms hugging the block. Then I take one leg up and I kick the other leg up into my balance. I'm keeping my ribs in, I'm pushing down The floor comes away from me as I rise up through my heels. This is Pinchamayurasana, or feather of the peacock pose. Good, and then I come down, and I'm going to rest once again, either in a seated position on my shins in Vajrasana or in Child's Pose. Good. From here, let's sit back up and we'll go directly into our final arm balance. So I'm going to come back into a squatting position on my tippy toes. I reach through my arms, or I through my inner legs with my arms. So I'm stretching my arms forward. And I want to try to get my inner knees as close to my upper arms as possible. So this is the starting position. Then I want to wrap my shoulder blades out and externally rotate my arms as if I'm trying to break a bar between my hands. That external rotation gives me the lockout position. Once I have lockout, I can start to lift my hips, and I find a kind of a shelf for my knees to come forward, and maybe try lifting one foot, maybe alternating feet, or if you can, lift both feet, pulling your sitting bones and your heels together as you round your back. This is the crow pose, Bakasana. Good, release. And you can either jump back to come through a vinyasa, or just take a little rest. Very good. From here, we're going to come into a prone back bend for our next little bit of sequence. I'm just going to pull my mat away from the wall, and I'll come onto my belly for the locust, or Shalabhasana. I bring my forehead to the floor, I roll my shoulders back, I'm going to energize my legs, and I'm going to lift my legs, shoulders, head, hands, and arms. Keeping my neck long, I'm focused on the line from my head to my inner heels, and I want to make that line as long as possible. So while I'm going up, I also want to think long. So I'm extending my axis, and I'm elongating up from the head to the heels and from the heels to the head. You can hold this arm position, or taking cactus, or a little more challenging, take the arms forward with the palms facing in and thumbs pointing up. Last few seconds. Exhale and release. Move your hips from side to side, and just rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. Good. We'll do a variation of locust position. So we're going to bend the knees, have the hands alongside, and we're going to come into the bow pose. In the bow pose, we lift the knees, the shoulders, the head, and the arms. So we're going to start first with the active variation. Okay, so I'm rolling my shoulders back. I'm trying to get that active prone extension. Wake up my hamstrings, my glutes, my spinal extenders. Good. Pull your heels now in towards your hips. And if your hands are able to touch your ankles, maybe you can go to the second version. If I'm holding my ankles, I want to push back to open my chest. So I'm stretching the string of the bow. And I get nice long axial extension up through my shoulders, to the top of the head, back through the feet. You can stay with the active version if you like. It's a great way to build up your capacity here. And then we exhale and come down. And let's push with the hands, and we'll come back into Balasana, into Child's Pose. From here, we'll come back onto our backs, and we're going to move into bridge and wheel pose.
Okay, so pushing down through your feet, which are going to be about hip width apart, I'm going to bridge up. I'm going to walk onto the tops of my shoulders. Okay, so the first step is to try to get your frontal hip points as high as you can towards the ceiling. And that might mean coming onto your tiptoes, so you're getting as high as you can with your hips. Then the second step, I like to draw my knees forward towards, so my weight's coming into my legs, so my knees come past my toes. This might take some getting used to. Then the third step, I place my hands by my ears, and keeping the energy of my legs, my hips stay high, I'm going to lift either onto the top of my head, or as I exhale, I straighten my arms. I can stay on my tiptoes or gradually lower the heels into wheel pose. Stay with bridge initially as you build your wheel. Exhale and come down. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. So either the bridge, the transition to wheel, or the full wheel. So lift your hips as high as you can. Come onto your tiptoes. Take your knees forward so your weight is in your legs. Think about the energy of the wave opening your wheel. And stay up on your tiptoes or lower your heels. And come down. Take a rest. And then we'll do one last time. Either just the bridge, lifting your hips, come onto your tiptoes, shift your weight forward in the low bridge position. Then, if you can, take your hands and lift and straighten your arms. And then exhale and come down. Very good. So let's hold the back of the right leg. We're going to do a few counter poses to our back bends. We're going to first push the right leg away from us and then straighten the left leg. With the right leg pushing away from you, you can straighten your right leg. So we're moving into Supta Padangusthasana, holding the back of the leg, resisting the leg away from you as you open the sides of your waist. Okay, this is step 1. Good. Step 2, you can have your leg straight or bent as you shift your hips, scoot your hips to the right, and twist to version 2. So I can have my leg straight and hold the outside of the leg. If I have a strap, I can hook it around the foot, and I bring my right shoulder back towards the floor. This is version 2. Not unlike the hip opening series, but now we're adding a spinal twist. Good. I inhale and I come back up. And then version 3, I open out to the side. I can use the right palm on the outside of my right leg to support as I open. And I could also hold my big toe or use a strap around my foot. Okay, but for here, we're using it as a counter pose to our back bends. Okay, then let's inhale and come up. I'm going to bend my right knee, foot on the floor, hold the back of the left thigh, push the leg away. So it's first you push, that'll give you your neutral spine. Then I extend the bottom leg, which is going to keep the lower back off the floor. And then finally, I straighten my left leg. So that's kind of like a 1, 2, 3 punch to really keep the spine neutral and open the posterior chain, the hamstrings and the glutes in the back. So while I'm resisting my leg into my hands, like I'm trying to break the clasp of my hands, I'm also pulling my leg towards me. So I get a nice opening through my posterior chain. Then I either bend or straighten the leg to scooch my hips over to the left. And I'm going to come down into a twist
with my left leg. So version 3 of Supta Padangusthasana, recline hand to big toe posture. But you don't have to hold the big toe. You can hold the outside of the leg or hook a strap around your foot. Focus more on the length of your axis from your head down into your right heel and twisting along that axis. On an in-breath, we'll come back up. And then version 3, I'm going to open out to the left. And I make a nice base for my outer left leg with my left hand, or I can use a strap. I like to have the elbow on the floor. So it gives me a bit more of a feeling of groundedness. So I can open the leg. Good, and then we'll inhale and come back up. I'm going to exhale and release, and I can either rock to sitting or I roll to one side to sit all the way up. So now I want to come into the body, or actually before I go into the body of the fish pose, I'm going to show you a couple of variations of shoulder stand. Okay, in shoulder stand, we have the option of modifying our bridge. So shoulder stand is more of a rest pose. I can modify my bridge by taking my block underneath my pelvis, and then I can bend one knee, bend the other knee, and I'm going to extend up. This is called Viparita Karani, and usually this posture is done with the legs up the wall, but we're using it as a variation for shoulder stand. Okay, so that's one version. Or I can lift my pelvis into my hands. So it's a lot like Viparita Karani, but I have my hands underneath my pelvis. Okay, you want to keep your throat open, extend up. This is called Sarvangasana. Sarva means whole body pose. Anga is body or limb, and Sarva is whole. So it's the whole body pose, but it's often referred to as shoulder stand. I want to make sure that my weight is in my shoulders, balanced in my shoulders. My throat is relaxed. My breaths are stretching, elongating. Eyes soft. Viparita Karani or Sarvangasana. Good. And then I'm going to come out, either if I'm up off the block, I bring my legs above my head so I can lower down one vertebrae at a time, or I just bridge up off the block and come all the way down onto my back. Now I'm going to roll up or roll to one side to sit up, and now we'll come into Matsuyangasana, or the body of the fish. So I'm going to start sitting in Baddha Konasana with the soles of my feet together. Then I want to sit my weight off to my left side as I bring my right leg behind me. So my left leg stays in Baddha Konasana. My right leg is in Virasana, in Hero's Pose. And sometimes this is called 90-90 position, or it's kind of like a pigeon variation. Then I'm going to walk my hands around behind me. I'll lift up through my hips, and I'm going to roll onto the outside of my left hip. I'm going to walk my hands around a little bit more, and I pull up from the bottom of the belly like I'm drawing a zipper up the front of my body. I open my throat, and I look past my left shoulder. Now I want to try to take my right shoulder towards the floor as my left shoulder moves away from the floor. Body of the fish, or Matsuyangasana. This is one of my favorite twists. Then on the in-breath, I face center again. I bring my right leg around into Baddha Konasana. Then I'm going to shift my weight onto my right, and I bring my left leg back for the other side. So right leg in Baddha, left leg in Virasana, Hero's Pose, and I start to twist to the right. Once I get to my maximum, I want to push into my hands and lift my hips so I can roll onto the outside of my right hip. Then I walk my hands a little further around and I start to look over my shoulder. I want to make sure that my throat stays open, so I don't want to drop my chin. I open the throat and I turn from the bottom of the belly. As I turn from the bottom of the belly, now I want to start to bend my elbows, and I'm bringing my left shoulder towards the floor and my right shoulder away from the floor. Get the feeling that as you inhale, you're stretching up in the bottom of the belly, and as you exhale, you're twisting a bit more. Inhale and face center. And on an exhale, we're going to come down onto our backs, and I'm going to set up for Shavasana. So for the setup in Shavasana, I'm going to take a blanket behind my head, and I want to bring a bolster behind the backs of my knees so I can get nice and comfortable. And I'm going to lie back. And I'm going to use my Shavasana as an opportunity to practice surrender, to let go of any attachments, and to just allow integration of my practice. Let the skin on the palms and the soles of the feet soften. Spread and widen the skin on the forehead. Relax and unclench your jaw. And imagine if there was it's like an invisible line down the center of your body, so that everything on the right half of that line, your right side of your face and your jaw, your shoulder, your arm, your right ribs, your belly, pelvis, leg, foot, everything on the right side is falling to the right. And everything on the left side, left forehead and jaw, left side of the face, the shoulder, the arm, the ribs, the belly, the hips, the leg, the lower leg, the foot. Everything on the left side is falling to the left. Feel the support of the floor, holding your bones, the structure of your bones on the floor. Feel how your bones support your muscles. Feel how the muscles support and connect the ligaments, the tendons, the fascia, connective tissue. It's pervasive through your body. And feel how that connective tissue supports your skin. So all the levels of your tissues supported, and then rest. Notice the relationship between your body getting more and more at ease and the breath getting softer and softer. And then slowly coming back into all of your senses, the sounds in the room, the feeling of the air on your skin, the light coming in through the eyes. You can take deeper breaths now as you start with little movements in your fingers, your toes, wrists, ankles. Maybe stretch the arms and legs one last time if you like. Breathing in new life and energy as you stretch, and then bend your knees or just one knee so you can roll onto one side. And then we'll use our hands to come back up to sitting. And we're going to come into a comfortable seat again like we started. You can sit in cross legs or in a kneeling position, as long as your spine feels vertical. Okay, so stacking your head over your heart center, over your pelvis, so the three body weight centers are stacked. And then we're going to do one more breathing exercise or pranayama. We'll do our 4-part box breathing again, but this time with alternating the nostrils. Okay, so you can do this in a more subtle form where you rest the first and second fingers on the bridge of the nose, and then you're just going to imagine the breath flowing from one nostril to the other. Or you can use this ring finger combination, ring, little finger, and thumb to actually close off the nostrils. If you don't want to rest your first 2 fingers on your forehead, you can close them into your thumb. So that's another way to do it. So subtle version, you're just imagining, visualizing the flow of breath and energy moving between the sides like an infinity pattern, or the full version where you actually close off the nostrils. Okay, so let's begin with an exhalation. Let all the air out. And I'm going to close the right side and inhale through the left. I hold. Then I'm going to open the right side. I exhale. And let's do 6 seconds. If that feels too much, you can make it less or just stretching to your capacity. And hold 6 seconds. Then let's inhale right side. Six seconds, hold. Exhale left side. And hold for 6. Inhale left. So that was 1 round. Let's do 2 more. Hold. Exhale right. Hold 6 seconds. Just return to normal breath if you get anxious or uncomfortable doing this technique. Inhale, right side. Hold. And exhale, left side. 6 seconds. Hold. Inhale, left. Breathing on all sides. Hold. Exhale, right. Hold. Inhale, right. Hold. And exhale, left. Hold. Release your hand position. Breathe normally through both sides. We're going to move into a short meditation. As your breath now has been channeled through the alternate nostrils, you can feel the softness of the inhale in the nostrils, slightly cooler, fresher air coming in, and the moister, warmer air going out. Using the breath as your anchor, or if you have another anchor that you like to use, whether it's a mantra or just the feeling of the awareness of being. It's the practice of doing nothing, just listening, just observing from our center. Notice if there's anywhere that you're bracing unnecessarily. See if you can soften and cultivate a kind of inner smoothness. With each inhalation, there's a kind of stretching upwards, as if you had this invisible string that connected the crown of your head to the sky. And in the exhale, the pattern of the exhale, we're grounding down and feeling the base, the stable base, and the connection to the earth. We're cultivating this ability to build our concentration muscle, but also to cultivate clarity of mind and body, and then to become smoother with our experience, and that's the equanimity. Concentration, clarity, and equanimity are the three main practices of meditation.
last moments here. Cultivating our attention, a sense of clarity, and the inner smoothness of equanimity. Being in the center of our experience and just feeling whatever we're feeling without the push or pull past the future. Just resting right in the middle. And then we'll bring our hands together in front of our hearts. So may these practices make our hearts and our minds stronger and our bodies healthier. Namaste.